In 1789, shortly after the ratification of our Constitution, Congress passed the Northwest Ordinance. This law prohibited slavery in the federal territories. And then in 1808, Congress abolished the practice of importing slaves and the slave trade in the United States. Some states were allowed to keep their slaves, but the concept of equal rights for all men was beginning to gain some ground. And then in 1820, the new Congress passed the Missouri Compromise, which reversed this trend and resulted in slavery in half of the expanding federal territories. And so, by the time of the Civil War, prejudice and discrimination ran rampant throughout the nation. And even the Supreme Court deemed it legal for states to discriminate against citizens and their right to vote for reasons like race, color, or economic status. Not only for these reasons, but even because of age, property, or educational background. Many reasons were devised to keep American citizens from voting. But in 1870, nearly all were eliminated with these words: "The right of the United States citizens to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or any individual state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude." Amendment 15, the last of 3 Reconstruction amendments to our Constitution, began to reshape our nation and represented a new birth of freedom for Black Americans. Slaves had been freed at the cost of over 620,000 American lives. And yet, Black Americans now had the right to take matters into their own hands. They could vote. President Ulysses S. Grant called the 15th Amendment a measure of grander importance than any one act of the kind, from the foundation of our free government to the present day. This new blessing bestowed by Amendment 15 is sometimes considered strange, because at the core of our Constitution, the principles, like those mentioned in Amendment 15, Section 1, are inherently understood. As our founding fathers drafted the early ideals that would form this nation, they realized that humanity's capacity for both good and evil would both be crucial in forging our nation. They spoke of sunshine and of shadow. With sunshine came human spirit and human reason, and on the shadow side came greed and vile passions. These malicious tendencies in men helped to create and enforce slavery for more than 100 years after the founding of our nation. As early as 1776, Thomas Jefferson had devised a formula that would have eliminated slavery within the span of 1 generation. Prior to the writing of our Constitution, it had been proven statistically that slavery was not economical. However, to get all of the states to agree on the constitutional verbiage, it was agreed that the issue of slavery would be suspended until a later date. Unfortunately, history has taught us the outcome of that decision. The Roman philosopher Seneca understood the injustices of slavery when he noted, "Slavery takes hold of few, but many take hold of slavery." Amendment 15 was created to combat these injustices, injustices that took root in our society early on and continued to tear apart our nation during the Civil War. President Abraham Lincoln clearly defined the purpose of Amendment 15 when he noted, "407 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal." Thank you.